Welcome to Media Melanie Talks TV. I'm your host, Melanie Merritt, and today I am here to mourn the loss of a television show that I have really enjoyed for the past few years. If you have not yet watched Evil on Paramount Plus, you are missing out, and I encourage you to go stream it. You can catch seasons 1 and 2 on Netflix, so if you don't have Paramount Plus, don't worry. Watch it on Netflix for now, and also let's hope Netflix picks it up for maybe a couple more seasons as well. If you are a fan of Evil like me, then you are also mourning the loss of this exceptional series. The finale aired last night in its 14th episode of its 4th season. Of course, the show was canceled, and they did give it 4 bonus episodes to wrap things up, which is great. Not every series gets the luxury of being able to complete the story, and luckily Evil did. However, they also kept the door open, which I appreciate. Now, I am a person who likes bow endings. I like things tied up nicely. I like closure. In the case of a series like 6 Feet Under, which I think is one of the best series finales of all time, I also appreciated a future glimpse of the characters to really see where they end up and not leave any question in the viewer's mind. That said, the creators of Evil, Robert and Michelle King, who are married in real life, said, "We wanted to give it a proper ending without necessarily the finality of death." I got to tell you, I think that's our taste too. I don't think we're wrapping things with either a dark or a pretty bow. It's always about, okay, let the audience imagine what happens that next week and that next month. The problem is, if you cut it off, there's no way for the audience to kind of fill in the gaps that you left. And okay, not a bow ending. Again, I think that's great for the series because there is the potential for it to get picked up for more. I like that they did not kill off any of the main characters, as they mentioned, again, keeping that door open and not making us mourn the loss of the characters and the series at the same time. So I appreciate there is potential for more Evil. Of course, the cast, led by mostly Katya Herbers, has been really vocal about getting this show picked up for more. It is very well viewed. It's been in the top 10 streaming shows for quite some time now. And given that Netflix has already licensed season 1 and 2, I don't think it's out of the realm they could pick it up. They've saved shows like Lucifer. The Killing is another show that was revived by a streaming service when AMC canceled it. And the creators have said they have 2 or 3 more seasons in them. So let's give it to them. Let's save Evil. Make sure when you're posting about Evil, you use hashtag save Evil to get that momentum going. So I think the biggest question in the finale is Timothy the Antichrist or not? What is so interesting about this ending is that it was not written in the script for him to have the demon teeth. It was written that his eyes would turn white. However, Katya, being the incredible actress that she is, really pushed for it to be absolutely 100% sure that this was not some kind of illusion. It was not her seeing things. The teeth were meant to be seen by her. And now it's like this kind of evil little dark secret. She pushed to put this pacifier in its mouth, hiding it from David. And that makes her complicit in the potential downfall of humanity if, in fact, Timothy is the Antichrist. And, it's to be determined as well if Lexus ends up being some kind of protector for Timothy. And if all of these prognostications come true someday, where, Timothy actually has a hand in the downfall of humanity. That said, Kristen is now very complicit in that. But it will also be interesting to see, did the baptism work? When Cheryl had Timothy baptized, of course, it was thought, okay, well, that solves that problem. But it puts us in this nature versus nurture debate, right? Now that he's in a good environment, he is not influenced by Leland, he's got a Catholic priest watching over him, perhaps the nurture part of that equation will come into play. And in fact, he's 95% better, not enough demon left in him to impact the human race. Or, maybe it is nature. Maybe there is this component of the devil's in the DNA, if you will, and Timothy is the Antichrist, and there will be a spinoff. We will see this story come to fruition. And I, for one, absolutely cannot wait. One of my favorite parts about this series is that it is so dark. It tackles all of these questions about faith, the metaphysical, the spiritual, but also the comedy. In this last episode alone, there were a couple funny moments, and really throughout the entire series, it was woven with these comedic threads. The Demons was on Zoom and muted. I thought that was hilarious, just playing on one of these little comedic micro moments, and of course, technology when people are on mute. Now, as shown here, Sister Andrea, she was one of the biggest comedic characters, I think, throughout. I loved her comment in this episode talking to David Acosta when she says, tall people are convincing, even if they're dumb. I thought that was great. I also really appreciated the daughters throughout the entire series. All four of them were fantastic. They added this kind of chaos, this overt comedy, and they just all played it so well. It was really fun watching them get older as the show progressed as well. I appreciated the glass ceiling when Charles was, of course, working for Leland. I thought that was a really nice visual to convey a concept of women being held up by this glass ceiling. And to see a literal glass ceiling, I thought it was impactful and comedic at the same time. Now, let's talk about Leland Townsend for a moment. I think Michael Emerson is just one of the best actors out there to play these kind of dark, quirky, evil characters. Of course, I love him from Lost. He was great in Person of Interest. And again, he brought Leland Townsend to life. And despite the fact that Kristen did try to kill him in this episode, she did not, leaving that door open. I think she would have if Ben and David had not walked in. And I liked where they put him in the end. He ended up locked in a closet in the silent monastery where, of course, Sister Andrea ended up. And what I liked about the silent monastery part was they're kind of bringing it back to the S's for Silent episode, which was one of the best episodes on television in general, I think, over the last few years. The episode had no dialogue, it had that silent film feel, and it kind of paid that off a little bit. And I like where Leland ended up. Again, it keeps us hoping that maybe he'll come back. Once they started comparing the 60 to the 60 regions in the brain and using that interface in the VR goggles. I thought that was a really interesting storyline as well. And along with this VR storyline, there were other ones during this season I thought were kind of fun. The concept of doppelgangers and there being a program to identify yours. Very interesting. Episode 1 of season 4 was great. It covered the quantum entanglement theories, which, of course, I love from shows like Dark. I always appreciate really diving into these physics, and they make you think about all of the possibilities of the universe, of time as a concept. And I thought that was maybe one of the best episodes of the entire season. Other things I enjoyed, I thought Dennis O'Hare was great. I did not mind his Italian accent, even though in some cases I do not like when actors have accents. Mandy Patinkin from Death and Other Details on Hulu and Elizabeth Moss in The Veil, also on Hulu, are two very recent examples. But Dennis O'Hare, being the phenomenal actor he is, really pulled it off. I thought when David walked away and left Demon Kristen there at the church, I thought that was a powerful scene. I really enjoyed seeing this evil Kristen trying to corrupt Father David throughout, and him leaving her behind, I do think was very symbolic of him getting a fresh start, getting to actually continue a life with Kristen, even if it's not a relationship with her. That said, this will they, won't they situation of them throughout the whole series, I would have loved for them to end up together. I think if it was a bow ending and there was not any potential for future, that's something that could have happened. But they needed to really keep that open by not getting them together. So that way we could potentially see them end up together. Should there be a spinoff or should there be a continuation of evil? And again, there's already a dark secret between them. Kristen is covering up the fact that her baby is, in fact, a potential demon and the Antichrist. So, what is going on there? We don't know. And hopefully, we will get to find out in some capacity. The creators of the show, Robert and Michelle King, are also known for The Good Wife, The Good Fight, and Elsbeth. Elsbeth is a good one. I've been watching that on Paramount Plus. And they also have a new show coming called Happy Face on Paramount Plus. It's about a real life serial killer and stars Dennis Quaid. So either way, they've got some other stuff in the works. But I think all of us as viewers are definitely hoping that more evil will be on the horizon. I would like to know if you've watched the show. Who's been your favorite character overall? I know it's really hard to choose. There are so many. Gosh, I mean, Charles, she was one of the characters who met her untimely death, although I do think it worked perfectly for her character arc. I love to hate her. I thought that Christine Lottie just played her so well. And yeah, it sucked that she died, but I think she fulfilled what she was there to do. Let's talk about one of my least favorite things from season 4, the Andy cheating storyline. Just not necessary. I do not think it was in his character DNA to be unfaithful. I think there were a number of other ways that they could have torn Kristen and Andy apart. I don't think they needed the cheating. Poor Andy, I felt so bad for him. He had no idea the traumas that he really endured. And I think there were many other ways. I think self deleting would have potentially been something that would have worked for the storyline. But cheating, infidelity, it just really didn't fit with who Kristen and Andy were as a couple either. That said, I did appreciate seeing Anna Chlumsky in this season. I think she's great. Have loved her since My Girl back in the day. For all of you 90s kids, you know what I'm talking about. Other things from this season I didn't love. And I think this is a product of getting 4 bonus episodes, which, by the way, not all series get the luxury of completing telling their story, or in this case, again, leaving the door open a little bit. But they got 4 bonus episodes to end it the way that they wanted to. And that said, I do think there were a couple of filler episodes in there. They didn't really move the storyline forward. I was kind of wanting more. And I was thinking leading into this final episode, how on earth are they going to tie all this stuff up with one episode remaining? And you know what? They did it. Those filler episodes, I do think there could have been a little bit more meat on the bones, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with the way Evil ended. I personally do think that Timothy is the Antichrist. I do think there's something to Lexus being this protector of him. And I do think that, Kristen is making herself complicit in the potential downfall of humanity. No big, nothing to see there. But we may see more if evil does get picked up. Now, that said, we all need to get out there and do our part to get more visibility for this show. I'm here making a video about it. I've been tweeting all about it. If you do share on social media your sentiment to save evil, be sure to use that hashtag save evil. And don't be afraid to tag Netflix because, again, Netflix has revived shows. It's done it with Lucifer, The Killing, again, another example of a show that was revived by a streamer. So it's definitely not out of the realm. And given that it has been in this top 10 of streaming shows, why are we not looking more into this? And with the creators and the cast all out there in support of this, wanting to do more, I really hope it happens. There are not a lot of shows where you see the cast that just gels so well together. The on screen chemistry for all of these characters was just off the charts throughout the entire series. I love how this show makes you think. It makes you question your faith if you do believe in religion. It makes you question the metaphysical and the spiritual, even if you don't believe in it. And some of these endings of episodes had logical explanations, some did not. And I just appreciate any show that can make you think, that can make you question things and concepts in our lives and in the universe itself. And Evil just did such a great job of that. So while we are mourning the loss of this exceptional series, there is potential for more. I am really hoping it comes back. I think the way that they ended it with just enough closure to make it work if it does not come back, or the potential for a spinoff or future storylines. I just love this show. And if you've not watched it, I don't know why you're here watching this video. You probably already have, but tell your friends. It's such a good show. If you skew dark, if you like mysteries, if you like strange principles, it's clever too. If you've watched it, you've seen in the intros, they have these funny little messages, don't skip this intro or the show will get canceled. Oops. Really funny. I loved the pop-up storybooks when they used those to visually show the episode titles. There were just a lot of elements of evil that I appreciated altogether. Mostly the cast, though. I think this cast is phenomenal. And you know what? I am going to miss this television trio. I think Ben, I think Kristen, David Acosta are one of my favorite TV trios in general. And there's nothing I hope more for this show to get more because it deserves it, from the creators to the writing to the casting to the way they execute the comedy, the darkness. It is pure television perfection. Even minus a couple of misses with, again, that cheating storyline, some of the more filler episodes. It's okay because it all ended well. And let's hope it comes back for more. Get out there, make sure you are sharing your opinions on it, because maybe the more we do that, it could actually work. And if it does, of course, I will be the first one reporting on it, letting everybody know when and if Evil does come back for a fifth, maybe a sixth and seventh season as well. In the meantime, please be sure you're subscribed to MediaMelanieTV.com. I will be putting out more content soon. I appreciate you watching. Me, Melanie, clicking off.